On today's episode of A History of the Navy in 100 Objects, we go back in our history to the times of Commodore Edward Preble and the Barbary War. This was in the earliest days of the U.S. Navy and was one of the first times the U.S. Navy was tested overseas. We are looking now at a desk upon which Commodore Preble penned an order that would gain Stephen Decatur his notoriety. The First Barbary War was a response to the frequent seizure of U.S. vessels by Barbary pirates. The U.S. had stopped paying the ransoms demanded and instead sent their fledgling Navy fleet. The director of the Naval Academy Museum, Claude Barabee, has the rest of the story.
We're here at the Naval Academy Museum. It's named after Commodore Edward Preble. Commodore Edward Preble had been born in Falmouth, Maine, later Maine. It was part of Massachusetts when he was born there. He had served during the Revolutionary War and would go on to command ships during the Quasi-War and, more infamously, during the First Barbary War. Preble commanded the 3rd Squadron that was sent by President Thomas Jefferson to deal with the Barbary corsairs. It was at that time that he gained his fame and his leadership influence over the United States Navy when he had junior officers under him like Charles Stewart, Stephen Decatur, Richard Summers, James Lawrence, David Porter, an entirely new generation of officers. And these officers, 24, 25, 26 years old at the time, were commanding the smaller ships in the squadron. They would become known as Preble's Boys. And that's why we think that Commodore Edward Preble plays such a prominent role in our Navy's history. So here at Preble Hall, we have an item that was owned by him, and that's this item here. This is his desk that he had aboard the USS Constitution while he was giving orders off of the coast of Tripoli. And so we open it up here, and we can see it's a traveling desk. It was owned by the family and later reverted to us here at the Naval Academy Museum. On the evening of February 16, 1804, Commodore Preble decides that he's going to write the letter directing Stephen Decatur to take the USS Philadelphia. The USS Philadelphia had grounded under Captain William Bainbridge off of Tripoli. Its crew had been taken prisoner by Tripoli. So he decides that he's going to burn the Philadelphia, and he issues the command to Decatur to do so. So he wrote the order on here. Another famous order he wrote was to Lieutenant Richard Summers. Now Decatur had taken a ketch, a local merchant ship called the Mystico, renamed it the Intrepid, and that's what went into Tripoli Harbor to burn the Philadelphia. Several months later, that same ketch, the Intrepid, is commanded by Richard Summers. They take aboard several barrels of gunpowder. It's their intent to blow up Tripoli Harbor and most of the ships from the Tripolitan Navy. They are unsuccessful. The ship does blow up prematurely. The entire crew is killed, and the crew's remains were taken ashore and buried, and that's where they remain to this day. But for this episode, this is the desk that Commodore Preble wrote those orders on during his famous command of the 3rd Squadron off of Tripoli.
Thanks for joining us today, and tune in next time for more from A History of the Navy in 100 Objects.